I think we're the generation defined by change. I'm in my mid-30s now, born in the mid-80s, and thinking back, the world I was born into, without its personal computers, with no mobile phones, definitely no social media, that world was vastly different to the world that I graduated in the mid-noughties and kind of started my working life in, where I had a laptop, I had a basic phone, MySpace was just sort of starting as the first social media. That world, vastly different to the world I've lived in the last few years, where we have a 24-hour news cycle. There are numerous social media channels vying for our attention, and my phone now does everything that my laptop does. That world, we'll call that world January 2020, vastly different again to where we find ourselves. I'm filming this now, September 2020. I have lost count of the number of new normals we have lived through in the last 6 months. And the thing is, on the one hand, humans are incredibly resilient creatures. We have survived and developed as a species because we can endure change. However, we're not really designed to go through change as quickly as we are now experiencing it. The systems of the body actually like routine. It likes knowing what time we're getting up, what time we're going to bed, what time we're going to eat. It likes knowing the route that we're going to take to work. Basically, routine means that the body feels safe. Anything new requires a higher level of alert to keep you safe, in a nutshell. So when we experience change, it's more for the systems of the body to process and to manage. And if you think back to times when you started a new job, when you have moved house, or maybe like moved to a new area or even a new country, those first few months are really hard. Like they're really draining, or can be. Can be really challenging. And a big part of the reason for that is that things that used to be automatic, processes that used to be automatic, now have to be thought about. That involve conscious thought. And that is more of a drain on the systems of the body. And as I'm sat here talking now, I'm remembering I used to be a restaurant manager, and I'd always have this thing whenever I worked in a new restaurant, or even if I was doing a cover shift in a different branch of the chain I was working at, there'd be a moment, middle of a busy shift, where I would lose my mind because someone would ask me for a teaspoon and I didn't know where the teaspoons were. I don't know why it was always a teaspoon, but for some reason it always was. And the reason for that is that in my own restaurant that I knew like the back of my hand, someone asks me for a teaspoon and I go, oh yeah, grab one, there we go. Don't even think about it. In a new restaurant where I don't know the layout, someone asks me for a teaspoon and I have to go, oh, teaspoons, where are they? Oh, they're in a drawer. Where are the drawers? They're over there. Pull out the first drawer, not in there. Pull out the second drawer, not in there, but there are forks, so that looks like the cutlery drawer, but there's no teaspoons. Oh, maybe they're in the kitchen. Where's the kitchen? Run off there. And there's this whole thinking process that has to take place because I'm somewhere new. And that's basically what happens when we go through change. We're having to process more and more than we usually would. So change can bring with it a greater challenge, greater amount of stress. It can feel really draining, and that's without the kind of existential crisis that we are. The multiple existential crises that I feel like we faced during 2020. What I've noticed over the years, I've also been through a lot of change personally, aside from the sort of societal changes. And what I've noticed is there's a real pattern to it. There's a pattern to how human beings experience change. And there's a pattern to how I have learned to cope anyway. Like I've developed over the years, particularly through doing yoga, particularly through coaching work. I've learned things that help to keep my feet on the ground as much as you can, or at least I kind of call it like riding the waves. Like you learn how to ride the uncertainty a little bit. And what happened this year with the pandemic and all the changes that we've experienced is I found myself, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've had my fair share of meltdowns this year, but there've been times when I've really coped better than I thought I would, and I have to totally hand it over to all these practices that I've learned in the last few years. They really helped me navigate change, and that's where this course has come from. I find even before this year there was this real common theme of people come to work with me, and change was, or life transition was, a huge factor in what was bringing them to coaching or bringing them to yoga. And I've been wanting to sort of condense this course for a while, or condense these practices down into a group format for a while, because I wanted to give one-to-one knowledge, or the kind of experience you often get in a one-to-one, I wanted to give in a group coaching course to make it a bit more accessible to more people. So that's where this course has come from. It aims to give you an understanding of what happens across sort of all elements of being human when we go through change. So the psychological elements, the emotional elements, the physical elements, the effect on your nervous system. It's going to aim to give you a lot of knowledge, because I really believe knowledge is power. And when we understand this this vehicle that we live in, it's a lot easier to live within it. As well as the theory, the course will also give you a lot of practical tools that you can explore in order to put together your own personalized toolkit, so that you have a toolkit to draw on to help you navigate change, whether that's right now in the changes you're going through right now, or whether it's 2 years from now when you go through your next set of changes. Because I think the processes are similar, and I think the things that work for us tend to be similar as we go through change in our life. So in a nutshell, that's the essence of the course. There's loads more information on the website. Head over there and have a look. This is natalieowen.com. And if you've got any questions, feel free to drop me an email, hello@thisisnatalieowen.com. And if you're not sure whether the course is for you, you've got if you'd like to have a chat in person, I'm really happy to do that. We can do a quick call probably on Zoom. All right, thank you.